if you've been paying any kind of attention the past few months, you've heard things about Facebook organic reach being dead and alterations to the algorithm that's getting in the way of you reaching your customers without spending money on Facebook, and a number of things that's telling us that Facebook's employing a pay-to-play model just to make money off of marketers, um, and be selfish about it. And I've spoken to you about the flip side of that coin, that simply our world in Facebook is not big enough to contain all the content that's coming our way, and we had to sift through it a little bit. If you look, you see all the junk that comes at you. It's kind of like panning for gold to find good status updates and photos a lot of times. So we need to shrink this down. There's more messages than there are time for us to consume and room for us to consume. So I saw something today that had 8 people, business owners, all speak about 8 different ways to kind of overcome this drastic reduction in organic reach. And I want to go through them because these 8 methods kind of supply me with 8 concerns. And there are a variety of people. Some are small business owners, some are people who are in the know. But let's go through them. Let's line them out and discuss what they all mean individually. Because this comes from a major outlet that you likely will have seen. So let's talk about them individually. And keep in mind that the title here that you're seeing at the top may not always directly reflect the description that we're getting below. So stick with me on that. Anyway, I'm going to do this as quickly as we can. The first one says integrated approach, and it's a few years ago we relied heavily on Facebook fan page interactions. Now with the changes made, we've seen drops in engagement. We've heard that. To counter this, we've taken a more integrated approach with all of our social networks and started to use pins, tweets in A/B tests to gauge fan interactions. Something catches the attention of viewers, we'll also share it on Facebook. The problem I have with that is that you're testing the reaction of people on Twitter, on Pinterest, on YouTube, on Google Plus to see if it's going to play, over here on Facebook. I mean, that's like the equivalent of like a chef sampling something with a bunch of, very refined palate adults and go, oh, they like it, let's try it on 5-year-olds. Not to say that Facebook users are always 5-year-olds, but the idea is that you've got very different groups. The first thing in any kind of public speaking, marketing, advertising, or just addressing a crowd is know your audience. So if you're applying the same strategy across all platforms, you don't know your audience, you're blanketing it out to people, and that's just a terrible approach, because the magic of social is the customization to the people that are listening and responding. This guy's not doing that at all, so everything he says, just disregard it immediately. Second one says great content. No matter what the algorithm is, great content will always rise to the top. We think about great content as information our fans can use. An algorithm change impacts all businesses, not just ours. Focus on creating content that all your fans love and want to share. The best content will rise to the top. Now, good content will rise to a degree. If I post a status and nobody responds, and you post a status and 200 people respond, those 200 people are likely to see more content from you because they've engaged, they've taken an action with you. Facebook rewards that for you and for them. Clearly they want to see it, otherwise they wouldn't have spoken about it. So that is true to a degree. However, great content does not always rise to the top. Promoting it organically just has shrunken down. The advertising model does make sense. It does work. Do not rely on the great content. Post great content. It'll get more engagement, which will get more views by the people who engage and their friends. But that's not the one-trick pony to being successful on Facebook. Okay. Number 3 says, don't game. Our focus on any social network has always been about real engagement instead of vanity metrics. As every social network shifts to embrace quality over quantity, Facebook will only increasingly reward excellent content. This is kind of a replica of the one before in a lot of ways. The vanity metrics, I do agree with. Number of likes don't matter. 10,000 silent people don't do any good. 100 really engaged people would be better. Vanity metrics are not a big deal. Number of likes, it does increase the number of eyes and ears, so the potential for engagement is greater. Focus on that to a point. Spread your message. That's not all that matters. Again, great content will help. It's not the solution. Staff engagement is number 4. We're definitely getting less natural engagement. We've done a few things to offset it. Beefing up staff engagement and sharing of our posts. Facebook won't hide personal updates. Second, work more with Facebook ads. They've been hit and miss so far. We're putting more money and effort elsewhere. He lists some platforms in there. Here are the things with that. He's kind of a twofold thing. Uh, the staff interacting and engaging, that's a good move. Sharing to their personal profiles, that's also, it's not going to hurt, of course. But if I work for Company A and I share Company A status, all of my personal friends will see it. But that doesn't really help direct. That's kind of like a by proxy effect. Again, more people seeing it is never a bad thing. But again, this is not really one solution. The other half of that is that they're focusing their efforts elsewhere. It's always good to be diversified. I mean, that's in finance and in advertising and in social and everything. It's good. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. A million cliches have been born out of spreading things to kind of cover your ass, but you don't spread the wealth to other platforms to defeat the changes in Facebook. Give that its attention as it's due, and then focus your efforts on those because inherently they matter. That's the difference. Email marketing, the title should speak for itself. Email open rates are down 30% year on year. So that's not really something that you really want to focus on. Social media is fickle. It is necessary, of course. Diversification is important. This guy says post 4 to 6 times a day. If you've got a huge audience, 50,000 plus, post a ton, because the 16% that see it organically times 4 equals, pretty much your entire audience, give or take, depending on how much over 50,000 you are. But, and there's some overlap, so it'll be close. But the idea that beating people over the head with it's a great way to get seen, and it's also a great way to get seen so much that they're annoyed. I don't want to hear from any brand 6 times a day. That's every hour, basically, that I'm on social media. The average person's on social media. That's somebody in my face reminding me about why they're awesome. To me, that's obnoxious. Again, not a huge focus. Next one, autonomics. Now, this is intelligent automation. These things are great for measurement. People tend to go a step further. He doesn't mention it here, but they go a step further, and that's using these kinds of intelligent automation tools to publish on your behalf. Facebook doesn't like it, so let's just, admit that right out of the gate. That's going to help squash your reach. And it's not personal. It's kind of counterintuitive to everything we say, to everything we preach, to the way social is meant to be done. So limit that. Use it to measure. That's for you. It's not for your crowd. He says something else here. Maintain strong non-paid marketing efforts on the Facebook platform. Anything you're doing to assist your paid efforts is great. Anything you're doing to avoid paid efforts is short-sighted and frankly naive. 7, timing and content. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but basically timing does matter. Content, of course, does matter. But posting the perfectly crafted things at 9 a.m. is not necessarily key to success, but it's something that should be in your toolbox. Anybody that says edge rank, you can do a good job of basically discounting what they're saying. We know Facebook doesn't use that word anymore. It is an algorithm. EdgeRank had the 4 factors. The new algorithm has over 100, so it's much more complex than people that are looking at popularity and deprecation and things of that nature. Those days are over. We've moved past that. We've evolved. Facebook's algorithm has. So let's just be smart about your timing. Know your audience. That's how that matters. And finally, diversification. This one, they really saved the best for last. Best in terms of deserves to be made fun of. Beefing up on other areas of social media. Been flexing our muscle with Google Plus and LinkedIn. So what you're going to find is, simply with LinkedIn, is that anybody that's on Facebook and LinkedIn, they're 2 different audiences. There may be some overlap. They want to hear different things in each place. You can't swap out one for the other. This isn't your kid's goldfish from the fair. People will see the difference. Do not do that. Google Plus, when the Google gods themselves, when Brin comes down and he says, Google Plus was kind of a mistake. I had a hand in it. I had no business having a hand in it. When Vic quits, the guy that was the mastermind of Google Plus, when he quits, when Google admits that all of Google Plus was a failure, you need to be careful. I would not look for engagement there, or users, or followers. You should post to Google Plus. It's an SEO thing, separate conversation. So there are ways to handle it. But if you're focusing on Google Plus, uh, you're basically just trying to start your own party by yourself at this point. Be where the action is. Be on Facebook. That's where your effort goes. The time they aren't investing in Facebook for their social clients, they're putting more towards getting dynamic and playful with Pinterest and Twitter. Obviously, valuable platforms. This is a social media person that works for an agency. I mean, she's leaning very heavily on Pinterest and Twitter. Look, if anybody out there is a lawyer looking for consultation, you'd understand that being on Pinterest makes no sense for you. So, leveraging the power of unpopular platforms to kind of, thumb your nose at Facebook, it's kind of silly, it's kind of immature, and it's kind of nonsensical. For an agency to say this is very disconcerting. So what I would say to you is beef up other areas of social media as applicable natively to you, but not as applicable in a way to avoid Facebook. And there may be a real turn in the tide one day where Facebook does stop mattering, comparatively to today. It's not that day, and that day is nowhere in the future. It's way too much of a utility, and it's way too pervasive in the rest of our lives and in our social toolboxes, and integrated into our devices. So the bottom line here is that you got to play with the system. You got to play within the confines of the system, and you got to play by market and company's rules. It is pay to play. But you should be excited about that because, let's say you're a car dealer. I can target an ad for all people that are within a certain age range, demographic, language speaking, that like orange sports cars and are likely to buy used models in the past 3 years. Why would you not do that? We're not going to target grandma at 80 years old for a car like that. So the idea is that with the pay-to-play, you get to spend money getting the message out to the people who are likely to give you money in return for your product, and as a result, you offset the cost of that. Look, if you can't spend $30 a month, if you can't spend $1 per day putting some boost behind content that makes you money, then you have no business being in business. Unless you're selling 5-cent Bazooka Joe bubblegum and $1 is a 95-cent loss for you, you need to be paying that, right? You get my idea? $1 one day. If you can't recoup that cost, your business has bigger problems than pay to play on Facebook. So there you go. If you saw this article and you took it to heart, I'm sorry. Recover from that. Call us. Whatever. Interact. But this is bad ideas, bad advice. Disregard with haste. Okay? It's good to be back on video, and we will talk to you soon.